Welcome back, Source Nation. Now here's your host, Kathy B.
Welcome back, Courage Nation. You're listening live right here on Ladies Lounge. I am your host, Kathy B. I'm telling you, tonight we have a dynamic show. Yes, we do. I'm going to be speaking with a beautiful young lady. She's coming in tonight. She's going to give us some great information when it comes to passion and purpose, as well as she's going to speak with us about her 5-day challenge. Now, just a little bit about her before I bring her in. I'm going to be speaking with Courage Molina, as I said. You know, she's going to speak to us about her amazing story in regards to supporting people with faith and giving them courage through any form of challenges and circumstances that they may be facing. You know, she is a woman of Christ, and she wants to really begin to enrich the body of Christ with understanding what your passion and purpose and what does that mean for you in your daily walk, in your Christian walk, as well as day to day. So I do believe that she's going to give us some great information. I believe she's here in the studio with me. Courage, how are you? And welcome to the Ladies Lounge.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. It is so great to be here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, I am excited to be speaking with you and, of course, learning more about what it is that you're doing within God's kingdom and empowering women and giving us everything that we need when it comes to our purpose and our passion. But if you will, please, if you could take a moment just to introduce yourself, we'll jump into the conversation from there.
All right. So I am Courage Molina, and I always say courage is more than what they call me. I believe it really is a lifestyle. And so I specialize in encouraging and equipping individuals who are really looking for a real transformation in key areas of their lives. And I love to come out and talk to audiences, you know, big and small, to really ignite a desire for growth through transformation. A lot of times when you go out and you hear a great speech, you're left with only a desire to change. And true transformation really takes courage and strategies. So in group coaching sessions and workshops, I love to provide, you know, practical strategies and tools so that people can start to really live this courageous lifestyle, you know?
Yes, I certainly understand that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, I want to jump right into our conversation because there's an area that I often talk about here on our platform, Molina. You know, I always try to speak to the women when it comes to passion and purpose. One of the areas in my life that I truly believe in. Not only that, I believe that God has truly designed for us all, not just women, but everyone, to understand that these two areas of our life is something that we should focus on. So if you don't mind, talk to us a little bit about passion and purpose and why is this so important on the platform in which you speak on?
I think that so often we just kind of accept our lives. We don't really start out thinking about the things that we're most passionate about. We kind of get pushed through school and somebody tells us to go to college and we go, and we typically choose things that are safe, that are logical, that make sense, that are reasonable, but that's not always the thing that God has called us for. And so I think it's so important for us to just take a time out and think about the things that you are truly passionate about. God created us with great intent. The things that you are drawn to, the things that you absolutely love, the things that you have such strong feelings about, I believe it's in those areas that God has called you to walk into your purpose. And the state of the world that we live in now is one where we're so out of whack and we're just kind of doing what someone said we should do without really taking into consideration, you know, the things that we've been designed and created to do, the thing that gets your heart pumping, you know?
Right. That is so true. And that's exactly what I say to the ladies, because often we try to figure out, okay, what is my passion? What is my purpose? And I'm so glad that you broke it down like that, because passion is something that you would love to do. You know, you would love to do, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have it within monetary dollar form, but something that you would get up every single morning and just be excited about it. And then, of course, your purpose is what God has called you to do. And you know it if God has called you to do it, because if he's constantly bringing you to it,
right,
and you're constantly hearing him say it, then you know that is your calling.
It definitely is. It also helps us keep us from being we are so busy. You know, we aren't getting anything done, but everybody is so busy. And if we concentrated more on our passion, it would give us the power to say no to things that really aren't important to us. And really, it's not our lane. And I can say, well, you know what? I have identified my passion. And even if it's not my vocation, even if it's not my career, I'm going to seek out opportunities to live in that spot, because that's the spot I've been called for. You know?
You know, and it takes me, as we were speaking, it takes me to two verses in the Bible that I feel speak so highly, Molina, when it comes to passion and purpose. And the one that I can think of right away is from Isaiah 55:8 and 9. And it says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." That comes from Isaiah 55:8 and 9. And then 1 Corinthians 13:12 states, "Now we see but a poor reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, that I shall know fully, even as I am fully known."
Okay.
How
Amen. The word of God.
How great is that? You know, and I think that we all need to really keep that instilled within us. I think, you know, in today's time, just as you said, we are so busy, you know, doing whatever it is that we do, that sometimes we often forget about ourselves, and we often forget about who we are and what it is that we're wanting to be. You know, and just speaking from myself and being a woman, I know when I became a wife, some of my dreams and some of my goals I had to put aside, because now I'm a wife and a mother too, and I didn't want to neglect those roles. So I want to talk to you about that, Molina, in regards to trying to, if you are a wife or if you are a businesswoman, but you are aspiring to do more, how would someone balance that? What are your thoughts?
I think that when you are where God has called you to be, that just makes you a better person in every area of your life, right? So everything does require balance. So without question, you know, understanding your role and the importance that you have as a wife, but you cannot negate and turn away from the thing that God is calling you to. I think it really comes down to, you know, time management. And what I found as a wife also, as I've begun to really seriously pursue the things that God has called me to, there are so many good things that I had to let go of, right? So once you get to a certain place, you are no longer being asked questions like, oh, should I do this thing and it's a good thing, or the other thing and the other thing is just bad thing. We typically don't have a ton of choices like that. Once we get to a certain point, every choice, every option is a good option. But if I say I choose my spouse first and I choose my passion second, that means all the other good things I have to say no to. And I think that's where we get into trouble. We want to do everything. So I cannot volunteer at church every single Sunday and have a ministry of my own and take care of my husband and my household and my children. I can't say yes to all of those things, you know. I have to understand the thing that God is calling me for, and sometimes the thing that God is calling me for in a season. There are some cycles to life, right, where what needs to be a priority in this season won't necessarily be as important in the next season. You know, when you have small children require so much of your time because they can't take care of themselves. So in that season, you may need to pull back on some other areas, but as your kids get older, they are able to provide more care for themselves.
Right.
And so in that season, you may have a little more freedom.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, if we are in this area of our life where we're trying to understand how to balance, the first thing is recognizing time management and prioritizing, if I'm understanding you, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And
so being able – go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Not just prioritizing, like absolutely cutting back so there aren't 10 priorities, there are only 3 priorities, right? Or there are only 2 priorities as opposed to I'm trying to prioritize my 10-item list. You know, it's a cut back and manage your time.
Okay. So with that being said, and we'll use your number of 10. So we have 10 things on this list that we know that we have to take care of. And I know some of the ladies here in the lounge that are listening, Molina, they're probably like me. I probably look at the list and say, oh, I can do all of this. I can do it. But how would we recognize what comes first and what has the most value? Because, as I said, I look at the list and say, okay, everything needs my attention. So how do we do that?
I think that first things first, everything isn't as important as we think it is. We think that things are so. Everything just isn't that important. I think you have to start with the urgent and really think about what is your end goal? Like, what are your goals? What is the things that you are working towards? What vision has God revealed to you? Because once you can align yourself and you can get a little bit of clarity of where you're going, that will help to dwindle down that 10 to 3. I promise you. I promise you, if you can see where you're going, it will help you to dwindle down that 10 to 3. So I am very active. I was very, very active in my church, in my local church. I went to church regularly. I led a Bible study also. I volunteered also. I'm married. I have 3 children. I work. I have 2 businesses. Do you think I did all those things great? Absolutely not. I thought I was doing pretty good. And that's what you think. You think you're doing good. But, like, you think, like, oh, I'm doing good. And maybe good is okay, but God has called us for excellence. And so I can't be excellent at 10 things. And so in this season, while I'm building and growing this ministry and going out to give the word that God has called me to go out and give, that means that I can't volunteer every single weekend at church. It means that I can't lead a Bible study. And those are good things. But God has called me to grow this ministry that he's given me. And those things don't lead me closer to growing the ministry that God has given me. You see what I'm saying? So you have to really identify with the thing that you've been called to and cut away the good things for great. Cut away the great things for excellence, you know?
Oh, I love that. Cut away the great things for excellence. And I want to transition over to understanding excellence, but before we even get there, there's an area where a lot of people are afraid to venture, Molina, and it is having faith, walking out on faith, and knowing that God has you. And I'm telling you, I am a witness to this because I am going through this right now, and this is something that I am going to share with Source Nation, and I'm going to share with you, Molina, because a lot of people do not know that Kathy B still works in the corporate world. I'm still in corporate America. And the last 2 weeks, I'm telling you, God has truly been speaking to me. And I keep hearing him say, you know, we've done this for 3 years. The station has been up and running for 3 years, and he has blessed me beyond measure in the last 3 years. I have done more in 3 years, Molina, than I've done in 24 being in media. And it's astounding that I've been able to do so much in this short amount of time. But what God is saying is that this is the season of growth. This is the season that you need to literally be in place to receive more in which I have given you. You can't be doing all this stuff that you've been doing. And I know me, and I know he said this child, my child right here, she's stubborn, and I'm gonna have to slow her down a little bit because she has to be in preparation mode to hear what I say to be able to execute in excellence. So I want to talk about that because I know that there are some ladies right now that are saying, okay, you know, I want to have my own, and I applaud anyone that says they want to have their own. But before you even say that and do that, you got to understand that when God says move, you got to move, and you got to have faith that you're going to be all right. So let's talk about that, Molina. Let's talk about that. What do you think?
That is so heavy because the truth is that we live in a world where people are always so quick to tell you what you need before you step out on faith. Even in the Christian circles, even church people saying, you know, we have faith on Sunday, and it's just like you said, Monday morning, it's like, okay, faith is cute on Sunday, but you need to clock in on Monday. And you know, like, wait until you've gotten to this certain level, you know, you've replaced your income. And that may be true for some people. This is what I found, that you're either in a Red Sea situation or you're in a Jordan River situation, and you won't know unless you have a conversation with God. You know, I don't have any personal strategies to help with that. You are either in a Red Sea situation. What's a Red Sea situation? It is a place where God moves before their face, right? So he parted the Red Sea, and they waited, and it was an incremental miracle. It didn't happen. He didn't just snap his fingers. Moses didn't just put out his hand. The waters of the Red Sea were pulled back all night long, so they were able to wait and see God move for them before they stepped out on faith. Now, it still required faith to step on that dry land with, you know, so many feet of water on your left side and your right side and so many miles to cross, you know, with your family. So it still took faith, but it was certainly a different type of faith. It was one where you could see the hand of God before you took a step. Now, that Jordan River situation is a situation where the water don't move until you do. It don't move. You got to stand right there on the shore of the Jordan River. That water did not recede until the people of God put their foot in, and with every step, the water pulled back. Right? Which season you're in without a conversation with God. I'll say this, too, though, that while it is impossible to please God without faith, this is a relationship with the Father in heaven who loves us. And there are so many examples in the Bible where someone said, you know, I really want to believe, but I'm going to need you to show me something before I can do it. You know, so I don't think that we should step out on faith we don't have. Don't step out on faith you don't have, honey, because you know it's going to be a difficult situation. But I think that we also have this relationship with God where we can say, okay, God, if this is you, if you are telling me to go, then make it plain. Show me. You know, give me a sign. I need something because I'm not ready. Be honest about the fear that you have. You know, it can't be a situation where we say, well, I know I should have faith, so I'm going to do it. No, I know I should have faith, but I don't. So, God, can you help my unbelief, you know?
Good information that you are sharing with us, Molina. Now, I want to, we spoke about faith. We spoke about passion and purpose. Let's talk about transparency. That's one of the things that I often talk about here on this platform that I find to be very true when you're speaking of passion and purpose, because transparency, it requires you to really begin to open up, maybe discuss the things that you've never spoken about before or at least shared with a number of people. What are your thoughts about transparency in reference to what we have talked about today, and how important is that when it in the area of growth and you taking your message forward to others?
Well, you can't grow in an area that you don't acknowledge, and so that transparency allows you to say, well, this is an area that I need help in, and so you have to share that with someone, or there isn't any growth, because we weren't called to grow and do everything by ourselves. Now, your walk may be your own, and the thing that God has called you to do, he has called you to do it. But he absolutely has not called you to do it alone. The Word of God says they will know us by our love for one another, which means we're to come together as the body of Christ to take on and to do the thing that he's called us to do as a community. So the thing that God has called me to do, it's mine to do, but I need my sisters and brothers in Christ in order to get it done. So you have something, Kathy, that I need to answer a call on my life. And you're never going to give it to you're never going to know about it if I'm not transparent. That's not just for areas we need help. That's also for areas where we rock, because some of us are so blessed and so anointed. Some of us have a double portion of stuff, and we are just sitting back holding it. We are being transparent even with our gifts and our calling. How can I help my sister grow if my sister doesn't know, the areas that I've been called to give in and to serve in? So transparency without question ignites that spiritual growth. It gives me an opportunity to, one, build relationships, because the enemy, he talks a lot. He is always running his mouth. Okay, always running his mouth. And if I am not transparent about, my areas of shortcoming, the areas where I need some additional support, he's going to use that to keep me from building true relationships. So not only do I not grow, I also don't get the support that I need from my brothers and sisters, because I'm listening to the enemy say, well, if they knew that you struggled in this area, if they knew that you thought that God called you to do great things, so it's not even about, okay, well, I'm struggling in my finances. Sometimes you have this belief and this understanding that God has called you to dominate in your field. God has told you that you're going to be the number one radio personality. God has said you are the next Oprah. God has said, you will own, thousands of buildings, and you don't even want to share that with people because you're afraid that someone's going to think, well, she thinks she is too good, or he thinks she's all that. No, I don't think that, but that is what God has said I can have. And if you aren't you don't know about the good things, then those things don't come to pass either. That keeping things in the dark, the devil is in the dark. We have to turn on the light. Turn the light on. So I want to see my mess, because anybody who can see my mess and sticks around, well, they're good for me. If you see my mess and you can't handle it, well, you know what? It was nice noise.
I love that. Source Nation and the ladies in the lounge, we are speaking with Miss Courage Molina, giving us some great information when it comes to our passions and purposes and understanding both of them, and the fact that God has called you to do remarkable and great things, and not have fear, but have faith, because you're going to be destined for greatness. I love it. Now, I want to, if we can, Molina, talk about the Courageous Living Challenge. This is a 5-day challenge, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What is that about, and why was it so important for you to bring this to light?
I think that we have to get real. Like Lee says, we have to get real if we are going to get better. And I realize that takes courage. It just absolutely takes courage to be transparent. It takes courage. You may believe God that he can do something for you, but it takes courage to take that first step of faith, right? And the sooner we get to a place where we say, I am who I am, and I've decided that I'm going to courageously live out the life that God has taught me to live, then it just it absolutely transforms you and changes the trajectory of your life. We are often so fearful. Fear can paralyze us. What if somebody knew about this? Okay. What if they did know? Right? Like, that doesn't stop what God has for you. You know, if somebody knows about your past, if somebody knows about your shortcoming, and so the way to get ahead of that, the way to get ahead of the enemy is to, you know, get out there and say, this is who I am. And that's really what the Courageous Challenge is about. It's absolutely uncomfortable. Absolutely. It is probably one of the most uncomfortable things you will have done in the challenge, you know, because it pushes you to do things that we have decided it's not okay to do, or we've decided that, you know, I really don't want to know what people think of me. And it's not just the negative. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, it's because there are some areas that you need some help in. You think, you know, everything is all good. It ain't all good. And you need to be aware of that. You don't need to run from it, because the thing is, this is really the truth. If you are tied tighter to your destiny than you are to your current situation, then it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what areas I need help in, because if I get help in those areas, it's going to push me closer to my destiny, and that's my real focus. My real focus isn't staying here and being comfortable where I am. My real focus is in growing and learning and adapting and changing so that I can walk in that life, so I can walk in that thing, whatever that thing is, whether it's being married or reconciling with your marriage or whatever it is. It absolutely takes the courage of, you know, recognizing, oh, I might not be that great. It also takes the courage of recognizing, oh, wait, but honey, you rock in that area. You are sliding. You are everything in that area. It takes that too. You know, we have to really recognize the good and the bad, and it really just sets you up for a place where there's some self-forgiveness, because there are some things that you haven't forgiven yourself for. There's some things you don't even want to discuss with yourself, let alone with someone else. And once you have come to terms with the things that you made or whatever it is that's holding you back, then it's okay to let people see those scars, because those scars are a testament of Christ. This is God's power at work. You know, I am an ordained minister, and in the beginning it was hard for me to say that to people. I didn't, you know, not a lot of people knew. I was, like, uncomfortable if people heard. I'm like, don't tell anybody else that, because, you know, now I have this fresh water coming out my mouth, but I was Salt City once upon a time, you know. And I was a teen parent and all these things, and it's like, you know, will people receive the word of God from me if they knew about my past? But once I got with God and he said, girl, this is your destiny, you know, let's do this, I was like, all right, I guess, you know, people are going to know, let them know. But the fact that I am where I am, that's a testament to the power of God. That's how I know he works. That's why you know I'm not just selling something that somebody sold me. I'm selling you a good that I use every day, you know. But it takes courage to say, you know what, God has called me. It takes courage to accept that love. It takes courage to move on, because God is not small, and he doesn't do anything small. Everything is straight bananas. I'm always like, okay, God, really? That's what we're doing? Like, you know, can we start small? Can we start over here with the little bitty thing first? He's like, no. So if you're going to ride with him, it absolutely takes courage. This is just the first step in saying, it's also a good test to see if you're ready, you know. And we're not all ready, and that's okay too. We're praying, you know, as people of Christ, we're always praying for those who haven't seen yet, or who haven't accepted the real love of Christ. They may have accepted salvation, but they haven't fully accepted the amount of love that God has for them, and that love is active in their present and wants to bless them in their future. And so if they're not there yet, then they'll know it when they see this challenge. They'll be like, you know what? I'm really there. But even that acknowledgement takes you to a place of prayer, you know?
Yes, it
now
does.
Pray for you. You know what? I know that God wants me to do this thing, but I am so afraid. Would you pray for me? This is somebody, oh, you got a prayer request? Yes, honey, I'm so scared. Can you please pray that I would take courage, that God will open my eyes, you know? So it's a different kind of challenge. I will say that. It is, I was uncomfortable writing it. I was like, oh, my goodness.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Now, for the ladies here in the lounge and, of course, Source Nation and anyone that's listening, how can they be a part of the challenge? Is this something that they can log onto daily, or do you just give us steps over the next 5 days in order to build us to the point where we're courageous, step out on faith? How does this work?
So go to the website, CourageMolina.com, and at the top it'll invite you to join the challenge. It is a 5-day challenge, and the assignment, the encouragement, and the assignment, the scripture, it comes right to your email, right to your inbox for 5 days. And there's some instructions for you to share on social with us. Join our Facebook group, The Courageous Collective. We are about 500 strong women who are, committed to living this courageous lifestyle, because it's just that. It is a lifestyle. This is not something you're going to do once. So, Kathy B, you are going to transition over to this new life that God is calling you to and step away from, your corporate job. But that is not the end of courage. You're going to need it every day in the new obstacles and the new areas and heights that God takes you to. And so that's really what the community it's about. So, come join the challenge, CourageMolina.com, and join the community, the Courageous Collective, on Facebook, and start living this life, It's time.
Oh, yes. Yes. As we are closing out, Molina, I want to talk about courage, because we spoke about passion and purpose, and we spoke about being transparent and having faith. Let's talk about courage, because I think that is so important too, especially if we are in an area in our lives and we're not sure how to balance and how to look at our seasons. Talk to us about courage and what that truly means in order for us to be great at what it is that we're wanting to do.
Courage, first and foremost, has to be rooted in a very intimate relationship with God, because He is calling you to walk on water. He is. He's not calling you to do the ordinary. He's absolutely calling you to walk on water. So it definitely takes a serious and intimate relationship with Christ to get through that. And it also means moving while you're afraid, moving when you feel sick, even when your hands are shaking. And it's the right move because you are in that intimate relationship with God, because you're in the Word of God. And so, it's moving while you're scared. It's not an absence of fear. You are definitely afraid, and you can speak that, but you can't allow that to keep you from moving. Courage is a lifestyle where when you need help, you ask for it, and when there is help to be given and you've been called to answer it, then you do that too. You say a word to a person when, even when it makes you uncomfortable. So this type of courage isn't one that's always going to be a place of comfort, but it's absolutely going to be the thing that trains you and prepares you for the thing that God has called you to do. So you just have to keep moving. Literally, you have to choose in your mind to make the decision to do whatever is necessary, whatever the cost, even if that means you might be a little embarrassed, even if that means you might be a little uncomfortable. That's just somebody's waiting on you. God is answering someone's prayer through your gifts, and you're just sitting, and that's not okay.
Yes, I love that. And as we are closing up, I want to thank you again, Molina, for coming in and definitely giving us the opportunity to hear such amazing things that you are doing within your ministry, and definitely helping the people in the kingdom grow. If you will, we would like to leave either with some encouraging word or maybe some tips and advice that we have not shared in tonight's conversation. If you wish to contribute, I would love for you to do so at this time.
Okay. I would just like to leave with this, that it is so important for you to understand that you are so loved by God. You have to hold on to that you are so loved by God, that he would send his son to die for you. And if he would send his only son to die for you, what other good thing would he keep from you? The answer is nothing. There isn't any good thing that God has for you that he's going to keep from you. He's not tricking you. He is calling you. He wants to use you. He wants to bless you. He wants to do a work through your life. And the best way for you to fuel this life of courage is to get to know Jesus. And Jesus is the Word. We have to go back to Bible study. You've got to get in your Word. 5 minutes is great. If you don't plan on doing anything, great. If you got some heavy lifting to do, then you're going to have to put in a little bit more time in that Word, because it is in that place that you will be overwhelmed by the love of God. And it's that love that you have in return that will push you through the fear to answer the call in your life. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. And, Molina, if you will, share with everyone here in reference to how can we get more information about you and continue to support you in your efforts.
Yes, I am at Courage Molina on all social media outlets, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. Join me on the Courageous Collective, www.couragemolina.com to start the challenge. And, my YouTube channel. I can't believe I forgot my YouTube channel. And I have doses of courage, making videos up there for about 7 minutes, 9 minutes, to just give you a daily dose of courage, just a small dose of what you need to do what God has called you to do.
Awesome. Again, Molina, thank you for coming into the Ladies Lounge tonight. You definitely have given us some great information. I am definitely going to go to your website and join the part of the 5-day challenge. I think that this has been a great conversation, and I thank you once again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless you, and you just keep doing what you're doing because, God has called you for this thing. You're a player in the lives of others. And your time is coming. I'm going to be excited to hear when you say, I've jumped, y'all.
I know that's right. Well, darling, again, thank you so much for being here, and we definitely look to hear more great things from you.
All right. You have a great afternoon.
All right, you too. Well, ladies, you heard it right there. But Miss Courage Molina, she said some wonderful and great things. Tonight's conversation was all about passion and purpose, and definitely, walking out there on faith and doing what God has called you to do. You got to walk out there in boldness and know that whatever it is that you're aspiring to do, you're aspiring to have, that God has called the ultimate blessing for you to do so. As I mentioned, the last couple of weeks, God has been speaking to me, and he's been saying, you know what, you can do this. You can do this. You cannot be fearful. You have got to have faith. And that's exactly what it is, ladies in Source Nation. You have to have faith, and you have to know that God has your back. If nobody else does, God has your back, and you're going to have to leap and know that it's all in God's grace and in the goodness of God, because what you have is ultimately somebody else's blessing. Love that conversation. Beautiful young lady. All of her information and more can be found on KathyB, Source Radio Network, as well as our main station page, Source Radio Network. Go out to her website, which is www.couragemolina.com. Join the 5-day challenge, get inspired, do awesome work, and do what God has called you to do. Just to wrap everything up from both conversations tonight here in the lounge, I want to personally say to all the ladies and everyone listening within the Source Nation family, know this, just as I said before, God has placed purpose and passion within you. It is left up to you to tap into it. Once you do, marvelous things will begin to happen. But what I want you to do, and what God is asking you to do, is to share with others. And when you share with others, ultimately, you're blessing them as well. So thank you again for being here tonight, listening here in the lounge. two wonderful and amazing ladies that were here with me. I want to thank you both for being here. Guys, thank you so much for being here in the lounge. Join me back next Friday. That's right, where I'm going to have some more amazing guests and more dynamic conversations. You're listening live right here on the Ladies Lounge. I am your host, Kathy B. You all have a wonderful and blessed weekend. I love you, and I'll see you again next week. Be blessed.